I'm in front of the home of Waldo Sexton, the man that many people believe is the architect of what Vero Beach is today. 17 acres of history, and everywhere you look, something interesting to see, whether it's historical or paranormal. Let's learn more about this fantastic property with one of the most important members of the Sexton family. So Mark, here we are, in this beautiful tropical landscape here, built by Waldo, but he had a really unique style of architecture of building. Can you tell me a little bit about how he built this place and some of the other places that he built that really looked like this?
He helped a neighbor when he was 10 or 12 build a barn. And everything he ever built after that looked like that barn.
But the focus of our investigation, Mark, was the Tripson house right behind us. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the place as well as some of the paranormal events that have happened?
Yeah, my mother and father were living here after the war. Houses were short. And she came down to breakfast and told Waldo, well, I'm pregnant. And he said, well, I'm going to start building you a house tomorrow. Do you have any idea what you wanted me to build you? And so she had him build that. It's actually a garage apartment. And then they added to it over the years. I've never seen any paranormal over there. My kids have seen my mother and my father over there since they died.
What was the first sighting over there? Was it of your dad or your mom?
I think it was my mother.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my son told me he met her on the back stairs.
What did he say? How did he express that to you? How did he tell you about it?
He said, I think I saw Grandma on the back stairs going down. She was a tough old bird. She broke both hips. They replaced one with a pin and one they replaced with a real hip. But she still had to go downstairs and wash clothes and do all that, so she'd run up and downstairs every day. And he saw her on the back stairs going to, I guess, do a load of wash.
Now, did she live in that house until the time
until she died.
Wow, wow. Now, I remember there's another story, and I'm wanting to think it was Sam saw your dad in there.
Well, that was the other son that saw him.
Okay.
I don't think Rob saw my mother. And they had a conversation. You'd have to ask him about what. But, yeah. Now, I've had friends stay at this house with me that saw Waldo. Rob's seen Waldo.
In your house? This house
I've seen the effects of him.
What do you mean?
Well, one night in our bedroom, our master bedroom up right there, and one night the light came on. And the door was off, and the switch was on the other side. So, so brave me, I made sure the door was locked, got on a step stool, and unscrewed the light bulb. In the morning, when I unlocked the door, the light switch was not on, but when I screwed the bulb back in, it was on. So somebody turned it on.
A couple of people may have seen some things here. Are you familiar with that at all?
Just when y'all were talking about it, it seems like they've seen some spirits around here.
Okay.
When y'all came before with your machines.
Okay.
But this must be conducive to spirits.
Well, that's the mystery, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to find out, is why they're still hanging around.
Maybe this is what they know.
Or what where
they were
with. Or where they were happiest.
Probably.
Mark, thanks so much for sharing these stories with us, this history. It really helps put things in perspective, so thanks a million.
That guy, he got a lot of publicity when he was alive. He's been dead almost 60 years, and he gets more now than he did when he was alive.
and it's well deserved.
A rod session here, and we'd like for you to answer our questions by a yes answer by crossing them and open them up for no answers. If you can do that for us, we appreciate it, with everybody's rods. When you did you cook with cast iron skillets?
I twitched.
Tina's is yes.
Mine's going to yes now.
Jill's yes.
Mine still has both ends.
Mike's Spanky yes.
Demetrius thinking about it.
Not for me. They didn't share these.
Are you the one that's making the K2 meter on the bed go off? There's something right around me right now. I can feel it. I'm going to ask you if you could do that for me again. Could you take both of the rods and point it in the direction where you are?
So we can address you.
It's going off again.
Can you take both rods, please? Can you take the one in my left hand and point it? Thank you very much.
How long have you been at this property? We'd like to talk to the gentleman that's been seen here. Can you step forward, please?
Are there more spirits in the room than just you, Mom?
Okay. So have you remained right here since you left us? Kind of just hanging out here for the time being?
Do you just stay in this room, Mom? Do you come to the house?
The family needs to know, Phil, was Sam there to meet you, to greet you when you
Was Sam the ghost that Roger saw and Alice saw on our Easter family dinner?
Did you appear before my friend on Skype? Did you give him an indication that you were here? Thank you. Let's straighten out. But you don't know who the little yellow girl is that he saw? Okay. Did Sam tell my friends to leave the room upstairs a little while ago? Okay. Let's straighten him out. Were you with Sam when you did that, when he said that? Are we irritating you with all these questions, Hildy? Yeah, they irritate me too. I get you.
Get over it, Mother.
I did not say that. Can you point to where you're standing right now? Because we're all looking at the rods, but we don't know where you're at. Could you point to where you're standing? May we come back and visit with you again? Would that be okay? We will. And we really appreciate you talking with us, but we're gonna have to take a break now. All right, so we're here today to talk about Waldo's Secret Garden. We had a great investigation there, and I'd like to talk with Sherry and Mark, you guys, a little bit about the incident you had in there. But I gotta lead in with what happened earlier that you may not be aware of. You know, we had Chris once again with us online from England, just getting a feel for the area. And once we did a walkthrough in the whole property, we ended up in what we call the flower room, which is where you guys were at. And I'd actually set down the computer there and just to let him get a feel for the room, got everybody else going onto the investigation, came back to find the computer off. We got it back on. He said, yeah, the computer suddenly went dark, but just before that happened, I had seen a coffin in that room. So when I walked away and I was briefing everybody, you saw that lady in white again, or that misty woman walk in front of the camera and you lost signal. Well, what Chris didn't know, because as you guys know, we don't tell him anything, is that an individual had died in that room. So that was a pretty significant event, and that's one reason why I wanted you in there to spend some time investigating. So with that knowledge, share with the rest of the group what happened to you.
Well, there were several people in the room at that time, and Sherry was doing a dowsing rod session, which I must say was probably one of the most lengthy dowsing rod sessions ever. And, but what was most convincing to me is that each and every one of the answers was immediate. The rods moved immediately after the questions were answered.
No hesitation at all.
With no hesitation.
Did you appear before my friend on Skype? Did you give him an indication that you were here?
And I even got the feeling that there was somebody there kind of controlling the rods. I could feel the presence of the person answering the questions, which that's never happened to me before. And I've been in on several dowsing rod sessions in several different venues. This was the most convincing to me. Don't you agree, Sherry?
Absolutely. It was interesting because we also had a couple of other pieces of equipment. We had a K2 meter, we had a couple of things that also kept going off.
K2 hit red. Lights on, flashlight.
We were able to debunk that actually by relating it to a fan that was operating in the area. So unfortunately that was debunked, but the experience was amazing. I'm still thinking about it. It absolutely, being the one holding the rods, it was really unusual because it normally feels a certain way and this felt very, very different.
In what way?
Typically, when I douse, I will kind of quiet my mind, and a lot of times I'm not even hearing the questions that are being asked. And so it's my belief that the energy is just kind of flowing through you and being expressed out the rods. But this time it almost felt like there was somebody touching the rods and manipulating them. And I've actually never had that happen before. It felt very personal. It felt very immediate. And based on the questions that you were asking, Larry, you chose to ask a lot of really interesting questions like, you know, is it peaceful where you are? And talking about the other side a lot, which is not something that we do frequently.
Is it truly more peaceful where you're at right now?
And so I think that really sticks with you emotionally too when you get answers along those lines.
Yeah, they were pretty succinct, no doubt about
Yeah.
that. And you combine that with what Chris told us,
Yeah,
made that entire session pretty significant.
it was a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great job, guys. Got a lot of good information out of that. I want to talk with Spanky and Jill about an incident you had in the kitchen in the Tripson house. Pretty significant.
Yeah.
Got a lot of good info. Tell us about it.
We did a little different investigation in there. We wanted to try something with the dowsing rods. We had five members in there in the kitchen in a circle, and we all did the dowsing rods at the same time. And when we started asking questions, it was like the answers would go around the group. It wasn't like everybody got the answers at the same time.
Tina's is yes.
Mine's going to yes now.
Jill's yes.
Mine still hasn't built up.
Mike's Spanky yes.
Okay.
It was really different this time.
You can actually see it go from one person
To the
The
next,
next person.
to the next,
and
and answer and give the same answer.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that was unique in that part of the investigation. We came to find out, we believe we were talking to an individual there that was the mother back in the day, and we were asking questions about cooking and what did she like to cook.
And
And
you talked
breakfast.
the mother, the lady of the house.
Lady of the house.
Okay.
And we were getting some really good answers. She didn't like to cook dinner. And we came to find out later, asking relatives, that was her tennis time.
Dinner time was her tennis time.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she didn't like to do that. She liked to go play her tennis, which was interesting to us. And then there was other tidbits like that was really funny. She did like to. We asked about the cookware that was in there, and she said that's not mine. And we asked, did you use cast iron skillets and things? And that's when we got the yes answer.
Okay.
So we got some individual answers from her. Not we were asking to the point questions, and like I said, we were as the questions were happening, the answers would go around the circle, except for one individual. We have a younger member in our group, and he wasn't getting any answers at the time.
We would like skip over him.
Okay.
He would get skipped every time. Until he asked the question, he was sitting on one of the stools and he asked, "Do you want me to put this back?" And the rods gave him a yes right away.
Whoa.
Yes.
What did you say?
Would
Do
you
what
like
she
to put the
says.
stool back?
Okay.
So get off my stool.
Get off his stool. He put it back. They started answering him also.
Okay.
So it was fun. It was a fun time, but it was informative.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Any electronics up there?
Yes, we had a few items up there.
Yeah, we had the K2 in there. We also had a REM pod in a room next to us that was going off.
Yeah, that went off a lot.
Going off. That was part of the prior investigation we were doing in the bedroom. And we had a lot of action in there also. But at that time, we took no notes because at that time we had Tom filming us.
Okay.
The other team member, and the 5 of us were doing dowsing rods, and it was a good time.
Okay.
And it was something different.
Well, you mentioned the REM pods because that kept going off every time we left the room practically.
Yes.
So that's pretty interesting because something had to be breaking that EMF level,
Yep.
Yes.
or that REM bubble. Okay. Guys, great job. We got a lot of good information that we're going to be able to share with the homeowners. So let's get ready for the next investigation. We got a lot of work to do. See you shortly.